Morganton City Council, September 12th, 2022. I'm going to ask Chris Jernigan if he'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chris. I'll ask our city attorney, Louis Vina, to lead us in an invocation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is that on? I'd like, before we begin, to just ask everyone to pause briefly and, in your own way, ask for guidance for this evening, and then I will close with a brief prayer. Gracious God, we ask your presence with this body tonight, as we always do with this community, this government, this council. Help us all and all who work for this city, either directly or indirectly, and all who live here, as we go about the business of the public tonight. We also ask especially your healing on our Mayor Pro Tem Wendy as she recovers from surgery. We also ask your presence with our former council member Forrest Fleming. And now we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Louis. Next, introduction of council. To my far right, Chris Jernigan, our city attorney, Louis Vina. I'm Ronnie Thompson, Mayor. Sally Sandy, our city manager. Butch McSwain, City Council, Chris Hawkins, City Council, and Renee Carswell, our City Clerk. And we have Linda and Ernest interpreting for our deaf community tonight. Under Public Advocacy and Issues, we have Abby Gentry Nelson, our Main Street Manager, who's going to present a Main Street update. Abby, welcome. Did you bring help with you tonight?
I did.
Okay.
Hope you don't mind.
That's okay.
I also brought along a few members of the Main Street Advisory Board that I would like to introduce.
Okay.
Keith Suttles, Julia Mode, Nancy Van Oppen. So just thank y'all so much for being here and being in support. Who else am I missing? Oh, Bryant Lindsay. Sorry, you were behind the pole. So before I begin, I just want to say a big thank you to city staff, council, mayor, our sponsors of the Morganton Festival, and all the volunteers that helped make this past weekend happen. It's the first time that, since 2019 that we've been able to have this event. And even though we didn't have beautiful weather the entire weekend, I'm just so proud to announce and to say that the Morganton Festival is back. So thank you all for making it happen. Chad, if you can get me rolling. Thank you. You can go to the next slide. Last year, I started this Main Street update to mayor and council. It's something, though, that our Main Street program has done for many years as a requirement of the North Carolina Main Street program as a part of our accreditation. And as many of you know, this is a national program, and so North Carolina holds us to those standards as well. In these statistics that I want to go over tonight, you will see public and private investment, business development activity in downtown, redevelopment activity, volunteer and promotional activity. Next slide. Downtown Morganton, or the Central Business District, they're one and the same, encompasses 38 blocks, 157 housing units and counting. We added 2 since last year. There's over 300 commercial spaces and well over 2 million square feet of downtown property. Next slide. Over the past fiscal year, so from July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, I'm proud to announce that downtown Morganton saw over $4.5 million in investment. That's through property acquisitions, projects, project improvements, both public and private, and also facade grants, public art, our Greenway connection, and landscaping. And back in March, I believe, of 2018, our council approved and adopted the downtown master plan. This is the second one that's happened in our history of being a Main Street community. And I tallied up the amount of investment that has occurred since that master plan adoption, which is Main Street's work plan. It's our workbook, if you will. And since that adoption of the master plan, downtown has seen $28.4 million of both public and private investment. So I think that is a fantastic number. And as you've heard in the public comment section, there's plenty of work still left to do, and we are actively working toward all of those goals that was listed in the master plan. Next slide. I see you, Chris. Over the course of the past fiscal year, we have seen opened 13 new businesses, 23 full-time jobs gained, 40 part-time jobs, but we've also seen businesses closed. So we can announce that we have a net gain of 7 new businesses, 13 full-time jobs, and 11 part-time jobs. Next slide. We've had 7 facade improvements, and like I mentioned earlier, 2 housing units created. And there's other building projects in downtown now, so I'm really excited to see those numbers grow quite a lot when I report next year. Next slide. So we were still not quite back to 100% during this past fiscal year, but we did see an increase in the number of volunteer hours and events downtown. Again, we're not back up to 100%, but even still, we accrued 1,713 hours of volunteer activity associated just in downtown, and with the annual value of volunteer time being $27.63, that equals $47,330.19 given to our community. We also produced 177 events in various scopes and sizes in downtown. That's an increase of 91 events from the last fiscal year, and this is largely due to restarting our normal event schedule and adding our food truck court. So I looked at all those events and did a conservative estimate on dollars generated during those, which I'm seeing in the totals equates to a little over $1.4 million generated in promotional activity. And again, that's without the festival, that's without a lot of our holiday events. So I think that's something to be proud of, and again, it's something that we will see grow in this next fiscal year and when I do my update next year. Next slide. So as I mentioned earlier, work still continues. Main Street has a lot to be proud of, but we have a lot to still work on. Our job is never done, and I look forward to focusing on the master plan, getting the work done with the help of the Main Street Advisory Board, with help of Mayor and Council, all the city. It takes a really large team to accomplish the things that we have set out to do. So we're going to double down on restaurant recruitment, housing, infill development, and I just look forward to working with y'all. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them now, or as always, the door's always open too.
Council have any questions for Abby? Abby, a great job this weekend,
Thank you.
and thanks for all you do.
Thank you. Couldn't do it without y'all.
Okay, next on our agenda is a presentation by Dr. Joel Welch, President, Western Piedmont Community College. I think he may have some economic numbers to give us also. Dr. Welch, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you for an opportunity to talk to you tonight. I was thinking as I was listening to other folks talking about downtown and things going on, everywhere I go, folks ask me what interests me in Western Piedmont Community College. Why did I want to come here? And one of the things that I always mention is the area, because one of the things that I really loved as we were touring before I accepted the job was Morganton. As you drove through downtown, you saw opportunity and potential. And those were things that were positive to me and that I see as opportunity. So excited to talk to you a little bit about the college tonight. And really, as you think about Western Piedmont, this past couple of years, I came in during COVID. We've worked on a strategic plan. We've worked on establishing a vision. I gave you a copy of our strategic plan there. You can read through that later. I'm not going to shout all of that at you. But we really worked and focused on what's our vision. And when you look at the vision of Western Piedmont Community College, what we're really about is being transformational. A community leader that is transformational, transforming our community. Because we've got to make a difference. We've got some things that we need to deal with, and Western Piedmont Community College is one of the best ways to make that difference. And we do it when we empower everyone, not just particular segments of our population, but everybody needs their best opportunity for success, and we want to empower all to achieve success. And that looks a little different for different people, but when you think about that vision, that's who we want to be. Transformational, empowering everyone to achieve success. And we do that through partnerships, working together, because in our community, we have some challenges. When you look at Burke County, 20% of our county is in poverty. 1 out of every 5 people in Burke County lives in poverty. You go down with that and you look at youth, 16 to 24, 22% of them are disconnected. We also call them opportunity youth. That again, more than 1 in 5 of our youth not going to work, not going to school, just hanging out. And I believe that in our community college is a way that we can make a difference with that. And I'm going to talk about how our strategic plan addresses that. If you look to the left there, more than 50% of our students at Western Piedmont Community College are Pell eligible. That again is an indicator of socioeconomic status. So 20% in poverty in our county, but 1 in 2 students at Western Piedmont Community College is Pell eligible, which is pretty low socioeconomic status. So that tells you that we are attracting folks that make a difference. And it's not, when you look at that at the very bottom of that slide, it is not equitable across all segments of our population. If you look at our Black African American, 23% are in poverty. Hispanic Latino, 31% in poverty. So when we think about who we impact, we know that if we're going to make a difference in our community, if we want to make a difference, poverty doesn't impact all areas of our community the same. So that empowering all means a lot to us. So our strategic plan is built around the idea of equitable access and success, that everybody has their best opportunity. And then we're focused on completion and transfer, learning outcomes. It doesn't do us any good to get people in if they don't learn something. And then postgraduate outcomes. We do not want to just turn people out to get minimum wage jobs. We want life-sustaining wages that make a difference in our community. So our strategic plan is built around that. I've given you a copy of that. I'm not going to hit all of those items, but I want to talk about a couple of goals here that I think matter. One is we believe that the college needs to develop and demonstrate a culture of caring for our students and the community. I'm not going to read all this to you. You can see it. But when you think about this, we see a caring community in our community, and we want to be a part of that. And to do that, we've got to be in our community. So you look at the number of students that we attract. We got impacted by COVID like everybody else. This past year, we've had a stabilization. Our enrollment went up just a little bit, which is something that's important to us. If you look down there at the bottom, One of the things that you'll see in the bottom right, we've had the largest dual enrollment reaching down into our high schools that we've ever had. I don't have all the breakout on that for you today, but if you're interested, I can give it to you. But we are seeing an equitable distribution in that dual enrollment. It is being reflective of our population, and that's something that we want to continue to see that's important to us. So we are seeing that stabilized and is important. But when we look at students who return, our retention, what you see here is for adult students, that top bar, our returning students have an adjusted gross income $2,700 more than our non-returning students. And for our normal traditional students, which are our younger students, 18 to 24, $6,100 higher adjusted gross income than our students that do not return. We have work to do, and we need your help, we need the community's help to make sure that every student gets their best opportunity. 71% of our students receive support. You can go through here. Pell Grant, $2.7 million. North Carolina Long Leave Commitment, $83,000. You can see the numbers of students that we help. So we're doing a lot, but we need more to make sure that the students who return are equitable with the students who don't return. So we don't want those students to not come back, but we know that finances play an important part of that. So as we look at that strategic plan, that's why you see this idea of building a culture of caring, because in many cases, students don't return because of life issues. It's not academic issues, a flat tire, a loss of job, family health. All of these things are things that impact our students. So we partner with folks across our community to make sure students have their best opportunity for success. Another thing that you look at when you see this, though, is that we know that graduates of the college earn more than students who do not have an associate degree. So we want to, as a goal, that our graduates exhibit high rates of employment and earnings. So we're beginning to track how much our students make and what's our employment percentage. I can tell you that there's some difficulties tracking some of that. Students don't always report back, but we're making a concerted effort around this, because when you dig into this, associate degree students on average earn $7,100 more than high school graduates. And when we set them up for transfer, you'll notice that bachelor's degree is even higher. Our students who come to Western Piedmont and then transfer on perform as well as or better than students who go straight to university. Not mentioning the fact that they'll save somewhere around $30,000 to $50,000 depending on which institution they go to. Return on investment is important. That's why you have in front of you an economic statement, because we know that students who invest with us earn over $5 for every dollar they spend with us. The taxpayers get back $1.40 for every dollar invested with us. And from a social standpoint, when you think about folks who go to prison and all of that, we know that education offsets that. Our community gets back over $6 for every dollar that's invested with a community college. Our impact on the community, $118 million annually from Western Piedmont, and 1 in 15 jobs are supported directly by the college. That is a significant impact that we can have if we have students coming in and we help them get out. So this is as we look to the future, how do we build on that? One, you see building on the front of our campus right now, our regional construction trade center. That's coming in focused on carpentry, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. All livable wage jobs, all with lots of job openings. What we believe is incredibly important if we're going to continue to build and grow our community. We need these jobs, and we want to be a regional source of those jobs. And so this is an $8 million investment from the college. We've got investment from our county, Golden Leaf Foundation, the North Carolina Connect bonds. We sold some property, all raising money, and then we've had some private folks that have donated to us to help make this a reality. It takes a partnership like that to make it work. The second thing that we have coming in the future is our Emergency Services Training Center. Partnering with the city, this is something that's important if we're going to continue to have emergency responders. We are looking to relocate as we look forward to the Broughton District and developing more greenway, more park space in town that can drive growth. We want to relocate our emergency services out by the river. We see opportunities here not just for emergency services, but for recreation that could attract more people to our area for tourism. This is an expensive proposition. Both our Regional Skilled Trade Solution Center and this Emergency Services Training Center, both expensive. We have $15 million from the state to build everything out at this site, probably somewhere around $35 to $40 million to truly get everything built. It will be a phased project. We will get the initial part done, but we see great opportunities to connect to greenways, trails, and recreation within our community that will benefit the county and the city of Morganton and surrounding areas that will attract people to the area. We are the community's college, and we believe that these investments in our community and partnerships across our community can make a difference in students' lives. You see a little bit there on more money made. It's not just about money being made, it's about quality of life. And when businesses come to our area and they look, they want to know that we can train a workforce. And that's what Western Piedmont Community College does. Thank you for your time tonight. I'm happy to take any questions that you have. We are very happy to be located in the city of Morganton as a college and in Burke County as our service area. We look forward to continuing to transform our community to empower people to achieve success. Thank you.
Dr. Welch, when's projected date for the construction trades? Any idea when that first class will be taught?
Well, we are teaching classes right now. We're not waiting on the building to be complete. The building should open next summer. We do have issues around supply chain, just like everybody else, but we are looking for some workarounds. We truly expect it to be open next summer, and the first class in that building to be August of 2023. So that is what we're doing. But I do want to emphasize there'll be a sign going up soon. You can start in construction now. We are running some short-term classes and things that we see as focused, and we're happy to talk to students right now.
Any other questions for Dr. Welch?
Just a comment on the trades building that created an enthusiasm, and your enthusiasm have created an interest in the community that is fantastic. A lot of people have asked when it first started up without the signage what it was, and explaining it to them really turned people on, and thank you for that foresight.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Welch, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next on our public advocacy, an announcement. Governor Roy Cooper has announced that the city of Morganton will receive a PARTIF grant in the amount of $500,000 for a project entitled Bethel Park Phase 1. The grant will be used to fund amenities in the Bethel Park restoration. Okay, next on our agenda is a proclamation for Big Brothers Big Sisters Month. I'd like to read that proclamation. Whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina enables life-changing mentoring relationships to ignite the power and promise of youth in our community. And whereas investing in young people's future pays off with a social return on investment of 18 to 1 through improved economic, health, and social outcomes for young people with mentors. And whereas by changing the course of young lives, we shape our community's social and economic future. And whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina has created thousands of matches each year by partnering with parents, guardians, volunteers, and others in the community to help youth achieve higher aspirations, greater confidence, better relations, educational success, and to avoid risky behaviors. And whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina has served the city of Morganton since 1999, and whereas the agency's goal is to recruit more volunteers based on the needs of young people in the community, now, therefore, I, Ronnie Thompson, Mayor of the city of Morganton, do hereby proclaim September 2022 as Big Brothers Big Sisters Month in Morganton, North Carolina, and commend its observance to all citizens. Adopted this 12th day of September 2022. Ronnie Thompson, Mayor. Renee Carswell, Clerk. I'm going to ask Councilman Butch McSwain to present that Big Brothers Big Sisters Month, and I believe we'll have somebody from the board here. Heather Worley, if you'll come forward, please.
Haven, it is just really delightful to be presenting this to you. A lot better than that old Dorian Palmer who was
Don't tell Dorian that.
Haven has been on the board for several years now, and thank you very much for your service and for the organization too. Want to say anything? Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to adopt that? Okay. Next on the agenda is a proclamation declaring September 19th to 24th as Burke County Chamber of Commerce inaugural Litter Sweep Week. Whereas the Burke County Chamber of Commerce has proclaimed September 19th through the 24th as inaugural Litter Sweep Week in the city of Morganton, North Carolina, and the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and staff encourages citizens from across the city to take an active role in making their community cleaner, and whereas the Burke County Chamber of Commerce will be supported by the North Carolina Department of Transportation to organize this inaugural Litter Sweep Week countywide roadside cleanup to ensure clean and beautiful roads in the city of Morganton, and whereas chamber members, board, and staff, community service workers, local government agencies, community leaders, civic and community organizations, businesses, churches, schools, and environmental concerned citizens conduct local cleanups during this inaugural Litter Sweep Week, and whereas the 2022 inaugural cleanup will be the first for the Burke County Chamber of Commerce and its more than 600 members, it is the hope that this will be the first for years to come. And whereas the inaugural Litter Sweep Week cleanup will be a part of educating the children of this great city regarding the importance of a clean environment to the quality of life in Morganton, North Carolina. Now, therefore, we, the City Council for the City of Morganton, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim September 19th through 24th, 2022, as the Burke County Chamber of Commerce inaugural Litter Sweep Week. We urge all the citizens to participate in this event to maintain the great beauty of our city. The cleanup will increase awareness of the need for cleaner roadsides, emphasize the importance of not littering, and encourage recycling of solid waste. Approved this 12th day of September 2022. Ronnie Thompson, Mayor. Renee Carswell, City Clerk. I'll ask Chris Hawkins if he'll make that presentation, and I believe Tanya is here to represent the Chamber of Commerce.
Tanya, thank you so much to the Burke County Chamber of Commerce for our first Litter Sweep Week in the city of Morganton. What I liked about this is our mayor said there's an educational piece here for our children on the importance of keeping a clean environment, but also a challenge to all citizens to continue taking an active role in keeping our community cleaner. So on behalf of City Council, I'm very proud to present this proclamation to you. Thank you very much.
Tanya, would you like to give us any details?
If you don't mind.
Please.
If you don't mind taking just a few minutes. Thank you, Mayor and Manager and council members and clerk for having us today. Thank you for doing your proclamation. I did my best to give as many hard things to say in there with the inaugural Litter Sweep Week.
Thank you so much.
If it makes you feel any better, every one of us have struggled through it. About halfway through this, we said, why did we use the word inaugural? We should have said first annual or something, but one year, next year will be the second annual, much easier.
Okay, no problem.
Just want to give a little bit of history. In 2021, when our board of directors looked at the program of work, we were looking at things to do this year that was a little different and that we could really help the community. And we have been hearing over and over from our county commissioners how litter is a problem. If you ever sit in those meetings, you're going to hear about litter. And this was a new program that we thought that we could put together for the community, to help the community unite. And this is definitely something that is needed throughout our community. So we put that in our program of work, and Jenna Cole, who's here with us, our staff member who is in charge of this program, she went to work on this program, and we're so excited that we kicked it off from 4 to 5:30 today here at City Hall. Thank you for hosting us for that as well. As the mayor said, it is next week, the 19th through the 24th. We're still accepting teams, and we want everybody to think about coming out. If you belong to a Boy Scout, Girl Scout group, church group, youth group, anybody, everybody, companies, council members, we'd love to have you on the side of the street. I'm sure we get good press for that. But please let us know if you'd like to sign up. You can sign up online, or you can call the chamber and talk to Jenna. We do provide the vests, trash pickers, and gloves and bags, so you don't have to worry about those things. And then, of course, we have paperwork for everybody who gets involved. The big news is, though, that I want everybody to know, the team that picks up the most bags of litter, there's a $500 cash prize. Shall I say that again? $500 cash prize. So, we've invested in this event, and we're excited about it. Do want to thank Republic Services, who has partnered with us for this event. We couldn't do it without companies like them supporting us. If anybody wants any more information, our website is burkecountychamber.org. Again, it's burkecountychamber.org. You can sign up and get all the information there, or you can call our office. Again, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. We really appreciate your support and for proclaiming next week as our inaugural litter sweep week. It is hard.
It is hard.
Thank you all.
Anya, thanks so much. Next on our agenda is a proclamation for Constitution Week 2022. Whereas it is the privilege and duty of the American people to commemorate the 235th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America with appropriate ceremonies and activities. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, this year designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Ronnie Thompson, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Morganton, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves. In witness thereof, I have hereto set my hand and cause the seal of the city in Morganton to be affixed this 12th day of September in the year 2022. Ronnie Thompson, Mayor. Renee Carswell, City Clerk. I'm going to ask Councilman Chris Jernigan if he'll make that presentation, please. And I believe we have two visitors, Alice Ayers and Janie Matthews from DAR.
Janie, my dear friend, it's just an honor for me to be able to present this to you and to thank you for your longtime service, and to thank the DAR for bringing this to our attention and helping us remember how important it is to study the Constitution and realize how valuable it is to us as Americans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, my work is done. He just said it all.
You can repeat it. That's okay.
Thank you very much, Mayor Thompson and members of the City Council, for having us today. I'm Janie Matthews, Regent of the Quaker Meadows chapter of the National Society, Daughters of the American Revolution. The Constitution was signed by 39 delegates 235 years ago on September 17, 1787. This document, the guardian of our liberties, established our republic as a self-governing nation dedicated to the rule by law. This is the sorry, I missed my place. I'm going to keep my finger on the line this time. This is the 67th anniversary of Constitution Week, which provides an opportunity for all Americans to honor the achievements of our founders and the nature of limited government, as well as the rights and privileges and responsibilities of citizenship. Did you know that Constitution Week has its roots in North Carolina? The 22nd President General of the National Society, Daughters of the American Revolution, was a Tar Heel. Gertrude S. Caraway, who was born in Newbern, and under her administration, the DAR made its own resolution for Constitution Week, which was adopted on April 21, 1955. The United States Congress received the DAR resolution 5 weeks later, and that led to the passage of Public Law 915 on August 2, 1956, designating September 17th through the 23rd annually as Constitution Week. And I ask all of you to ring your bells on September 17th at 4 o'clock, because bells will be ringing all across the nation for Bells America. Thank you for proclaiming Constitution Week in the city of Morganton.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you so much. Next are upcoming events. The downtown and City Hall, the Farmers Market continues in September and October on Saturdays from 8 to noon at 300 Beach Street, on Wednesdays from 11 to 2 at the Mini Market at 111 North Green Street. our Sunday Pops concert on the 4 Sundays from 3 to 5, September the 25th at the historic Burke County Courthouse Square. There is art in the hall. Raymond Goodfellow has an artist, as an abstract artist, has some creations for City Hall. At Comma Performing Arts Center, it's our really first performance, Thursday, September 22nd. That's the opening night of Comma. It's the Masters of Soul, which are at 7:30. And under recreation, the College Street pool is now closed for the season. The splash pads will close for the season at the end of September. Friday and Saturday, October 7th and 8th are going to be plow days at Catawba Meadows Park from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And Friday and Saturday, October 21st and 22nd, Spooky Meadows at Catawba Meadows Park from 7 until 10 o'clock. So that's going to be 2 nights. Next on our agenda is North Carolina Municipal Power Association. Sally, anything?
Yes, we do have one thing. The Electricity's Board of Directors, which is the joint board of directors of the two agencies, is going to have elections in November. There are 2 seats that are up. Those are currently held by a council member in Gastonia and the mayor in Statesville. They are both eligible for re-election and will be running for those offices again.
Okay. Next is our consent agenda. I believe we have 4 items on the consent agenda. If you'll cover those, please.
Absolutely. Those 4 items include regular minutes from the regular meeting on August 1st, tax releases in the amount of $19,727.64, the discontinuation of pay-per-view services through Compass. Now that streaming has become popular, that is no longer feasible for us to provide that, and so we are discontinuing that. And then finally, we are having to amend a resolution you adopted, which is our continuing efforts to seek grant monies for the renovation at Bethel Park. And we have been advised by our state partners that we needed to change some of that language. So you've already adopted it, we're just changing the language.
Do any members of council wish to have any items removed from the consent agenda? If not, to have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Thanks, Chris. Do I have a second? Thank you, Chris. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Under new business, we have a public hearing and consideration of adoption of an ordinance to permanently close and abandon a portion of Agnes Street. The public hearing is now open. I'll call on our city attorney to give us some information.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this, again, will sound familiar because we had one of these not too many months ago, in which we, after a public hearing, you all adopted an ordinance closing a significant portion of what was marked on the maps as Agnes Street, but which had never been opened. The owner, Dusty George's Investment LLC, owns the property on both sides of this portion of the street. After the previous action back in December, they realized they needed to ask for closure of a small additional section of the street which has never been opened, but as to which they now own the property on both sides. And nobody else has any need for this small segment of public way for access. Staff has looked at this and sees no reason to object. The matter, you all adopted a resolution of intent at the August meeting, and this has been properly advertised for hearing in the News Herald.
Does anyone, this is public hearing, anyone wish to speak in favor or against this adoption? Seeing no motion, public hearing is now closed. What's the wish of council?
Mr. Mayor, may I add one thing, just to
You
be
may.
clear? If this is adopted, this ordinance is adopted, then Dusty George's Investment LLC would become the owner of the entire small segment of the street, since they are already the owner of the property on both sides.
Okay.
I should have made that clear.
Thank you, Louis. What's the wish of council?
I make the motion to adopt an ordinance to close and abandon a short segment of Agnes Street, reserving an easement for use of any public utilities within that segment.
Thank you, Butch. I have a motion. To have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We have consideration of award of a contract for some resurfacing. Sally, can you cover that?
Absolutely, and hopefully this is good news. So back at budget time, last spring and early summer, we talked about the need to do more paving and resurfacing and road repair work in the city. And as you know, that's extremely expensive. So you all decided at that time that we would set aside $800,000 out of the American and Recovery Plan Act money, that Rescue Plan Act money that we received, ARPA, as we like to call it, in order to do that. Included in the budget were also two other resurfacing projects. One of those is resurfacing in both of the city-maintained cemeteries, and then finally, some resurfacing at the Morganton wastewater treatment plant at the composting area. So city staff took bids on all of those. Additionally, since that time, we have had to do a water repair and are doing a water line project on Garrison Road, and that will also need to be resurfaced. And so we're including that resurfacing as a part of what we're recommending to you tonight. So we took sealed bids for this on August 23rd. We received 3 bids. The lowest responsible bidder was J.T. Russell and Sons, Inc. of Conover, North Carolina. Their total bid was $875,185.69. You have your bid tab included in your packet. What the staff would like to recommend is that we award them a contract, however, that would be not to exceed $985,000. And the reason we'd like you to do that is we would like to spend the entire $800,000 that we set aside. So basically, this is a per unit price, and so staff is working with the contractor to add additional linear footage in other streets to get additional paving done, because that bid was only $695,696 for the streets that they looked at, so we can add more. Resurfacing in the cemetery, we budgeted $100,000, and if we spend that $100,000 rather than just the $73,678 that was bid, we can do all of the resurfacing in the Olive Hill Cemetery and then the major part in the Forest Hill Cemetery, and we would like to get that done. These are good prices, we feel like, and we'd like to do that. And again, both of those amounts are budgeted. Finally, at the waste treatment plant, we budgeted $85,000 and our bid's $82,843, so that covers that project. In the $800,000 would also be $22,968 to do the Garrison Road project. So we want to spend every dollar that we have appropriated for resurfacing and get as much done as we possibly can.
What's the wish of council?
Make a motion to award a contract not to exceed $985,000 to J.T. Russell Incorporated for street resurfacing, cemetery resurfacing, and pavement drainage work at the compost area of the wastewater treatment plant.
Thank you, Chris. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Butch. Any further discussion? Sally, we're trying to just stretch the dollars as much as we can, correct?
We are, and to put this in context for everybody, in a typical year with our tax money and our power bill money, we would do about $150,000 to $200,000 in resurfacing a year. And so this is basically 4 years' worth of what we could normally do.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
And with the cost to resurface, that money doesn't go very far, does it?
It does not. It will be less streets than one thinks.
I'm very thankful to have what we have.
But I also need to add that we're doing this by our rating system. And so our two criteria were some of the worst rated streets, the ones that need the resurfacing, and in order to maximize our linear footage.
Very thankful to have this ARPA money to be able to use.
Absolutely.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next is consideration of a preliminary plat approval for Mansfield, Carolina Holdings subdivision. Sally?
Yes, so the city staff has received a request for approval of a preliminary subdivision plat. And this is for property that is along Hopewell Road. It's a proposed subdivision for 6 lots to be called Mansfield Village Subdivision. The developer has requested that in lieu of donating green space or dedicating open space and green space there, that they pay a fee in lieu, and that comes out to be $678. So you're seeing the subdivision area on the map that Chad has brought up for you. Planning and Zoning heard this at their regular meeting held on August 11th. They voted 9-0 to approve it and also to accept the fee in lieu, and also adopted a statement to show that this is consistent with the plans in the Mission 2030 plan, and would ask that you consider approving that. You also have in your packet of information the proposed layout of the subdivision around the street and cul-de-sac that was done by Weston Consultants.
What's the wish of council?
Make a motion to approve the preliminary subdivision plat for Mansfield Holdings as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
And that's going to be approved, Chris, with the conditions that
And
they
then for this one, there's no conditions,
Okay.
other than accepting the fee in lieu.
Okay. I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Any discussion?
There's no sidewalk in that area already, is there? So it's
No,
not like.
there is not.
Yeah.
There is not.
Anything else? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next is consideration of approval of a resolution allowing the city to apply to the North Carolina Department of Commerce for a building reuse grant. Sally?
Yes, so feel very fortunate to be asked to do this. We have Alan Wood here tonight from BDI. BDI has been working with a local manufacturing business here, well-established, that's looking to renovate and upgrade the current facilities, to invest just a little under $7 million in their facility, and anticipating creating 30 new jobs along with this. It is being called Project VET, and that is the code name so that we all do the right thing and keep the state money on the table. Rural Infrastructure Authority has recommended a $200,000 building reuse. The city would be the applicant, and you know, we've done a lot of these, very successful, has worked great for Burke County in supporting our local industry. The city and the county would share the 5% local match, which would be $10,000, and that's $5,000 each.
What's the wish of council?
I'll make a motion to approve a resolution allowing an application for a building reuse grant in the amount of $200,000 for an expansion or upgrade of a business identified as Project VET.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Any discussion? So Sally, our cost would be roughly $5,000.
That's correct.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next on our agenda is consideration of an appointment to the Community Appearance Advisory Commission. That is a mayoral appointment, and I'm going to move to appoint Leslie Geezy for a 3-year term to expire on June 1st, 2025. Next is consideration of appointment to the Cable Television Commission. This is a city council appointment. Sally, can you tell us something about this?
Yes, so one of the members on the Cable Television Commission is a representative of the Burke County NAACP, and that group has suggested Mary L. Roseborough to take that seat, which would be for a 3-year appointment, and that term would expire June 1st, 2025. Previously, that seat has been filled by Dennis Caldwell. We have a at-large vacancy on the board, and so it would be suggested that Dennis be moved to serve in that one, and that you consider Mary for the 3-year term. Dennis's term would expire June 1st, 2023.
What's the wish of council?
Make a motion to appoint Mary L. Roseborough to the NAACP appointment on the Cable Television Commission to a 3-year term to expire on June 1st, 2025, and to move Dennis Caldwell from NAACP appointment to an at-large appointment to continue a 3-year term to expire on June 1st, 2023.
Thanks, Chris. I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Thanks, Chris. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Do any members of council have anything else to come before?
Well, I will echo what was said earlier by Abby about this past weekend and the hard work of the city staff and volunteers. Friday night seemed to be excellent, and Friday during the day, and I talked to some vendors who seemed to be happy that they were able to make it worth their while to be here, even though Saturday wasn't all the greatest. But it was a great way to come back, and I think everybody did a fabulous job.
Thanks, Chris. Anything else? If not, this meeting is adjourned.